In a world where hopium and common sense collide, starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto. Question everything, trust nothing. It's your boys, CryptoKeeper, BlockchainCrusader, here on a Friday evening. What's going on, Miguel? How you doing, bro?
¿Qué bolón, tiburón? Excited, bro. Gotta cover some deep news about Bitcoin and, its main use case. And it's being showed right now. So
yeah, dude, absolutely. I'll tell you what, guys, just as a reminder, 7:15 is the time that we're going to be starting. We were trying 7, and I apologize. I got a daughter playing over my shoulder here. Hopefully she'll keep it down a little bit. If not, well, she's 8 months old, so it is what it is. But at any event, so we are going to be starting every day, Monday through Friday, 7:15 p.m. And then the debates will be 9 p.m. on Saturday night. So just to let you know, that's when things will be popping off. Make sure you smash the likes. Make sure you subscribe. If you guys could share it out tonight, that would be fantastic. We've got some really good information going out tonight. What are we talking about, Miguel?
Bro, we got fire lined up tonight, right? We're talking about the situation with the war that's happening with Ukraine and Russia, right? What is Bitcoin doing to join the fight against Russia and help out Ukraine? And at the same time, the question that we've been floating around for the past couple of months: inflation, interest rate hikes. What does that look like for the next couple of months? Is the Fed going to start raking up the interest rate hikes in the next month?
Nope.
We got a little information for you about that right now, guys. So pull that up, Nick. And
I'm going to pull this up right now, but I do want to just throw out there, guys, that CryptoKeeper, because of this, is going to ultimately be wrong about the rate hikes. But for the record, it's because of this. No other reason.
Okay, no, it's not because I just have a good sense of where the things are happening. It's my little
shut up, Mohammed's trying to talk. Shut up. All right, let's get it on.
Would you anticipate the next move being from the Fed in that case?
So this takes 50 basis points completely off the table. It takes the 8, 9 hikes that a lot of people were talking about for this year off the table, and thankfully so, because you heard me say on your show that I didn't think the U.S. economy could accommodate and live with such slamming of the brakes of monetary policy. It means the Fed is going to have to be even more careful, and it's going to have to tolerate higher inflation. Nobody wanted to be here, but we were already far away from the world of first best in terms of monetary policy, and now we're going to get even further away. So we're going to have a very sort of unsatisfactory situation when it comes to inflation and when it comes to growth, unfortunately.
Mohammed, I've had very smart investors explain to me that when you're dealing with inflation as high as we have it already, at 7% plus, that you're already at the point that the only way to resolve this inflation picture is to put the economy into a recession. Do you disagree with that?
So historically, that's been the case. Historically, when inflation gets this high and the Federal Reserve has lost its inflation credibility and has lost the policy narrative, they are forced to slam on the brakes. So historically, that's been absolutely correct. The question right now is, would they do that in the midst of a geopolitical shock? I put out an article in the Financial Times earlier this week, and I said, when you look at the probability, it's pretty even between whether they slam on the brakes or alternatively, they tolerate higher inflation and just push the problem down the road. This, we've talked about this over and over again. This is the situation everybody was afraid of, that by being late, you have fewer policy options.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching. See you.
Well, there you guys have it, bro. It's almost like if they watched the channel and they've been listening to me talk about.
So hold on, before you scratch your before you scratch your back too hard, right? Let's talk about what he really said. He said what CryptoKeeper said is, hey, the way that we solve this is we push the economy into a full-out recession. However, because of, and you did not foresee a war.
However, let's take that back a little
bit.
This
Black Swan event that I talked about.
It's not the only solution. It's just the way they tend to do things.
Which is what I said they were going to do.
And he literally said, he said, even before this war thing, he did say in the video, even before the war, that the economy could not sustain a slamming of the brakes with the inflation situation that was happening. And now
Yep.
with this war
With
happening,
the
there's an
geopolitical stuff going on.
even a bigger reason not to slam the brakes.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? Expect more inflation, right? We saw that about 7%.
A price hike in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, what's happening now, right? We get 7% of our oil, I believe, from Russia, right? We do a bunch of business with Russia, and now with the sanctions coming in, trying to trap Russia in and putting control over their currency and their country, we're gonna have less trade. We're gonna have more supply chains backed up, right? We're gonna have less oil, so more gas prices going up, more inflation. Supply chains problems increase inflation problems further down the line, and this is only going to get worse. And the Fed is not going to be able to do anything, and they're going to come out again and say, we're still assessing this with new information, and we will let you know when the time is right.
Yeah, the Black Swan event, that we've all been talking, is a possibility that ultimately something's going to happen. Currently, let's be real about this, and we're going to look into this all tonight, so I don't want to dive too far into this right now, but the reality is we have something like on the plate, on the table right now that could go horribly wrong for all markets, right? And way more than just markets. So we need to be praying for these people. I do want to throw that out there. There are a lot of men, women, and children that are not in a good place tonight because of some of the, we'll just call it greed of our world leaders and these puppeteers that are in the background that want to push this forward because it's ultimately ripping families apart. So we need to be praying for them for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah. It's wild what's happening over there. People don't understand. We're living comfortably in our homes every night. We live in a society of first world problems. We don't understand what struggles is. We don't understand what it is for a siren to start ringing over your head and people running outside and bombs dropping left and right, and you literally have to walk from your house to the nearest exit of the country. They're not exiting the town. They're exiting the country, right? Fighting to get on a train. If not, you're literally on foot all the way out. But with that being said, what is Bitcoin going to do for Ukraine? What is Bitcoin going to do in this whole situation? And how is Bitcoin helping, right? How we saw Bitcoin help Canada, the Canadian truckers, right, with the freedom situation going on over there. And now we're getting another scenario where Bitcoin is coming in for the rescue one more time. So let's bring that up.
Yeah. Which one do you want to pull up first, Miguel?
Let's bring up the Patreon one.
Well, yeah, that's actually what I thought you were. Okay, cool. Yeah, and guys, stick around till the end because ultimately the last article is talking about how this is directly affecting the rest of the crypto market and what it looks like over there versus over here. So that's what we're going to end with. So make sure you guys stick around till the end there. So check this out. So Patreon suspends Ukrainian NGO Come Back Alive for funding military activity. Okay, so we scroll down here. Patreon, a content creators membership platform that can also be used as a source of crowdfunding, has suspended Ukrainian NGO Come Back Alive after ruling that the NGO was violating its terms. Come Back Alive was established in 2014 when the armed conflict broke out between Ukraine and Russian-backed separatists. The NGO claims to provide armor and medical equipment to Ukrainian fighters. Come Back Alive director Taras Chumut, I probably butchered that, told CNBC that over 300 grand was donated in the hours following the invasion of Russia. Patreon removed their page and blog post, reiterating that the platform is not to be used for weapons or military activity.
Or saving lives, apparently. So it shows you, right, another point of centralized situation where you put your money and you hope that you think that you have control over your money. You say, well, I'm donating my money to this cause to help these people out, and a centralized entity is telling you no, you cannot do that with your money. And I'm pretty sure they had to have given the money back to the original donors. But
you'd like to think, unless you look towards
you would like to think that, right?
We're trying to do with GoFundMe, those freaking crazy fools.
Exactly, right. So centralized powers over money dictating once again what you can and cannot do, what you can support and cannot support, because that's what they do with your money. And money is not even programmable yet. It's still just fiat, right? It's still just central banking money that's not even programmable, and they already have this level of control. They've already had this control. So what's this alternative that they've turned to? Bitcoin. They've been sending Bitcoin over there. So pull up that article, Nick.
Yeah, this is super interesting. When I first read this, I was like, I mean, you know what? When this was all breaking out, the reality is that yeah, I mean, Bitcoin solves a lot of these problems. Ukraine military Bitcoin donations surged to over $4 million. Most of the cryptocurrency was sent by a single donor who sent $3 million. In brief, cryptocurrency donations keep flooding in to support pro-Ukraine groups. As of today, NGOs and volunteer groups have received $4 million in crypto since Russia invaded Thursday. Bitcoin donations are flooding in to the Ukrainian military. As of today, it's $4 million, like we just said. Yesterday, Decrypt reported that the figure was just over 400K, so it's increased tenfold. London-based Elliptic said Friday that NGOs and volunteer groups had raised the cash. Man,
Yeah.
you know what, Miguel? The beautiful thing about this is if used correctly on the front side, if the people that are utilizing the Bitcoin and sending it from point A to point B know how to do it correctly, as if you and I were trying to send Bitcoin back and forth the way we would know how to do it via cold storage wallets, not using centralized exchanges, this, that, and the third. This can happen and nobody's going to stop it. It's one of the reasons that Bitcoin works. It is decentralized. You are not going to stop this transaction. It is going to happen. And quite honestly, you would have to be looking for a transaction from a wallet to a wallet. Yes, there are obviously they're public. It's a public blockchain, public domain. But the reality is you would have to be actively searching this out. And the reality is this is part of why Bitcoin exists. Boom.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Perfectly said. Sean, thank you for the super chat. We greatly appreciate it. One of the big supporters here in Debate
Yeah.
Crypto. Thank you, man. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it.
Miguel,
Yeah,
do you think that so as we look at this, so Bitcoin's being donated, that's fantastic, that's beautiful. Do you think that the pump that we've been having is because of inflation narrative, or do you think the pump has been related to, hey, you know what, Bitcoin's solving some problems right now? What are your thoughts?
I think it's both. I think people are seeing the use case, right? Like I said, Canada, the whole situation in Canada, that's still going on. Let's not forget about that, right? That's not resolved and gone. That's still happening. Now we have this Ukraine situation happening. We're seeing more and more use case for Bitcoin and how these other centralized points of power are trying to control people with what they can and cannot do with their money. And people are starting to wake up, right? At the same time, a great point was brought up I think it was in a tweet or another article that I read earlier today, that basically imagine right now being in Ukraine, having to, run for the hills or trying to escape the country because of what's happening. And you have to be chugging along a bag of gold or your whatever precious assets are, right? It's bye real
Yeah.
estate. They're gone. So
Yeah.
forget your real estate, right? Forget all your other assets.
And 18 to 60-year-old men are not allowed to freaking
Yeah,
leave right
men are not allowed to leave. 18 to 60
now.
exactly are not allowed to leave, and you have to leave with whatever assets or cash you have. You don't even know if Ukraine is going to be a country anymore in the next couple of months,
I'm
right?
leaving with a seed phrase, my dude.
Exactly, right? Exactly. That's exactly what I'm going to, right? You have your little USB, little hardware drive, and all you you don't even need that. All you need to know is your 12-word or 20-word seed phrase, and bing bang boom, you can be transporting hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars worth of assets with no problem, no seizure at the border if you're leaving the country. No one can steal it from you, right? Nobody can mug you in the chaos and take it from you. You're not going to drop
right.
it. You're not going to lose it. How easy does that use case come to fruition now? People are like, oh, but I don't really need that. I can just, if I can transport my gold, I can shuffle around some LLCs and move my real estate from here to there and make some business. In moments of emergency, none of that plays out. And Bitcoin is showing you that in the moment of emergency, it is there to do what it was created to do.
And I want to throw something out there for those of you, and most of you, I'm guessing in the chat, if you guys are here with us, you know kind of where we stand on things. But the reality is, for those of you that would say, because we always get someone that says it, what happens if they shut down the power grid? Well, let me tell you, first of all, my seed phrase is still safe, which has my crypto safe once it comes back online. Secondly, if they shut down the power grid, we have a lot bigger things to worry about. If the power grid actually went down, the entire internet goes down. If the entire internet goes down, you're not getting into your bank either because they do not have a written out on paper ledger. So if electric and the internet goes out, the facts are just that the whole world or wherever that chaos is happening is going to be absolutely scrambling. And so the least of your worries will be that the worries will be, how do I keep my family safe? How do I feed my family? How do I protect my family? Hopefully we don't have to find out. But the reality is, in the interim right now, Bitcoin does solve a lot of these problems. And I'm really interested to see what that, how this plays out. Are we going to continue to pump? Or is this kind of a little bit of a fake out? I don't know. I hope that it's an actual full on pump, but I do believe what these economists are saying, and they are saying, listen, with the war happening now, the U.S. cannot afford to actually raise interest rates. I think, wow, could it have happened at a more, I hate to say it like this, but strategic time for something else to say, oh, well, but this, right? Oh, well, but that. And so when it all does collapse, we've got 10 different ways to point. Well, this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened. It wasn't any bad decision making. It was life happening in a really set of chaotic terms. So I don't know. I ultimately just hope and pray for the people over there. I hope that we step up to the plate and do what we need to do, and not take a back seat and play passive, passive Joe. Right? We need to see some, put some
Dude,
muscle in it.
another thing that I found out today, right, was that there is a what's the word? The word is
Mandatory mandate.
no, not mandatory. Whatever. There was a piece of paper signed between Russia, London, the United States, and Ukraine back in '94 when they were trying to take the nuclear power away from Ukraine. And basically, in that paper, it was called the Budapest something, the Budapest whatever, right? It was signed that basically the United States is not liable, but basically there was an assurance of security signed there that if something were to happen because Ukraine obliged and gave up their nuclear power, that the United States and London
Well, they signed
and
some sort of a treaty or
some type of
agreement as
treaty
part
kind of
of a treaty.
situation.
Okay.
Yeah, that the United States will step up and defend Ukraine in case of an invasion from Russia, and Russia was signing saying, "Hey, we will not invade you," kind of thing. So they are in violation of that. The United States has not stood up and taken a step to reassure Ukraine that they're coming to help. So they're basically in violation of it as well and selling them out. So there was treaties signed about this exact situation.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. I do think that that Vladimir Putin, and this is just me speculating, but I do believe that he is taking advantage of what he views as weakness in the United States leadership right now. I believe that he is saying there is weakness. There is, let's go, Brandon. I don't know what else to say. Unfortunately, there's just a lot that people are looking and pointing and have been, the U.S., unfortunately, a lot has been the laughing stock, whereas we normally have been in the past the absolute, oh yeah, come and find out, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's scary. It's scary.
Along with this whole invasion, the Russian currency, the ruble, the
ruble, yeah,
the ruble, it dropped massively. So all the Russians holding their fiat currency are shitting the bed right now.
Yep.
So we're also seeing a gigantic surge from Ukraine going into crypto exchanges, which you should bring up now and show the people, right, that people are fleeing to crypto, and we are seeing a surge in Bitcoin. We are seeing it bounce back, right? Russian currency is dropping. Ukraine is trying to save themselves and get some assets. So Here we go.
Crypto exchange volume in Ukraine spikes as currency controls introduced. Ukrainians are turning to crypto as the central bank limits e-money transfers and cash withdrawals in response to the Russian invasion. Again, another reason for Bitcoin. Trading volume for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies on popular Ukrainian crypto exchange Kuna surged over 200% earlier today, according to CoinGecko. From under $1 million on February 21st, trading volumes on Kuna reached highs of $4.8 million today, the highest volume seen on the exchange since May 2021, before stabilizing around $2 million. Real life, guys. This is real
exactly
life
right.
here.
And it shows once again, like you were saying, centralized power controlling what you can and cannot do with your money. People are fleeing, people are panicking. There's no time for this. There's no time to be freezing people's assets and not letting transfers happen, right? Bitcoin solves these issues. No one can stop you with what you want to do with your money. And we've also had Ted Cruz come out in the CPAC 2022 speech. I think it was like yesterday, the other day, coming out talking pro Bitcoin, talking about decentralized powers, talking about taking power away from these central entities, these corporations,
Yeah.
and what they're doing with the central banking system, and allowing people to be free. He even brought up the letter that Nunchuck, the Bitcoin
Oh yeah.
wallet,
That was
wrote
epic.
to Canada, and he brought it up. He brought up the letter and he read it out loud. He's like, "This is how you do it. You
Yeah.
literally tell entities like the Canadian government to go F themselves, and we are not giving you anything because we can't, because by design it is created so that we don't have power over our customers and our users, and we can't hold them hostage. They have self-custody."
Yeah, dude. There is literally, you couldn't have more geopolitical advertising for cryptocurrency right now. You just couldn't. I mean, the currencies in the different territories are not holding up. They are inflating or they are absolutely collapsing, one of the two, all over the place, right? The world reserve currency is the United States dollar, which they tell you is 7.5% inflation. It's literally, if you look at numbers, it's over 20%. That's a fact. And in reality, what do all of these are advertising for Bitcoin? So I think it's going to be really interesting to see where that heads. I just want to throw out there just real quick the shameless plug for our academy. We have debatecrypto.academy. If you guys are looking to be more personally involved with Miguel and I, we do a private Sunday seminar every single week where we're teaching, and then we have a private Telegram group as well. We've got Crypto 101. Ultimately, we've paid for some we'll call it information that you guys probably don't want to pay for because it's freaking expensive, that we want to share with you guys, that there's a lot of metrics, and they really do help give us better insight on what the markets are really looking like over the long haul.
Yeah, man. So yeah, everybody go check that out. The link is in the description of the video as well. So quick recap, right? What did we talk about today? We talked about more inflation coming, right? Supply chain problems. The Fed cannot raise interest rate hikes with the situation happening geopolitically right now.
Yeah.
So there's an excuse to continue inflation rapidly. And now they can point the finger. Hey, look, it was because of this. So let's just, put that money printer machine to go burr full speed without a problem. Outside of that, we got more geopolitical situations proving the existence and the use case for Bitcoin. People donating Bitcoin, no one being able to stop them because decentralized organizations don't want to support it and trying to stop people from donating money to save other people's lives worldwide. Ukrainians rushing, right, to save their assets and rushing into Bitcoin to be able to transport that
To save their assets.
Yes, their assets, right? So that is another use case right there. Cross border, right? When the moment comes and you gotta run, what's better to pack up and go? A seed phrase more than anything else. You can't pack up your real estate. You can't pack up your nice fancy cars. You can't pack up all your Rolexes, right? You can't pack up all your gold bars and carry it over the border because things are, not going so well at that moment. So with that being said, Bitcoin's case is being proven more and more. Ted Cruz has come out pro Bitcoin in the CPAC speech, calling out the situation that's happening in Canada and saying Bitcoin has a use case of decentralization, taking power away from the Federal Reserve, taking power away from these centralized entities, that they're pro Bitcoin, and how these Democrats or these other people that he said in his speech are all about controlling you. So that's why they're not pro Bitcoin and they're not pro crypto. So the war on Bitcoin, or the war for Bitcoin, is firing up, and there's more and more use case being displayed in front of us every single day, guys. This event that's happening in Ukraine is not a small event. It's not a little blimp in the radar. This is huge. This is the biggest conflict since 1945 in Europe. This is massive, massive, massive things. And it's not massive as in like I'm happy about it for Bitcoin. No, this is very big. This is tons of people's lives. This is not a game, right? We don't feel it because we're nowhere near there. But there are bombs dropping right now on people's homes, right? People are running for their lives. And Bitcoin is showing that there is a use case for it to protect people, to help people. We might not be able to do anything ourselves right now, but we can donate, and no centralized entity can say, hey, you can't support that cause. Hey, we don't want you using your money that way. We can help them.
Crypto fam, listen, the reality is Miguel and I are patriots for our country, and we want to see people do well in theirs. And when conflicts like this arise, the reality is, and I know this from being in the military, that we need to step up to the plate if we're able to, right? And so we're not calling on you to donate or do anything, you know, whatever. Obviously, you figure that out for yourselves. But the reality is we stand up for freedom, and freedom comes through decentralization. Freedom comes from Bitcoin. And the reality is cryptocurrency does offer a lot of solutions for what we are dealing with today. So the reality is, guys, we love each and every one of you. We thank you all for all of your support. As always, question everything.
Trust nothing.